Okay, welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Steve. I'm here with another chat with you this week. And if this is new to you, this is only our second time doing it, and it's going to be a weekly thing. But I'm hoping to bring you some cooperative news and have a fun discussion. So without further ado, let's look at the news. Let's start right away with what I have on the screen right now: Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. So this is a game by Modifus. I think so I say it. Is a 1 to 4 player cooperative game, and there's not a. It's already previously announced, but I'm going to keep announcing these things as new information comes out, so you guys are up to date on a few things as I come across them. And that way, if you happen to join this, you're not familiar with the game, you at least find out about it. But yeah, feel free to jump in on this. Okay, so Skyrim is based upon the board game, obviously, and this one sounds really cool. I'm very excited for this. I played Skyrim a lot uh, back in the day, so um, this one sounds like a giant adventure game, which is totally down my alley. So it's a 1 to 4 player cooperative adventure game, and you'll be defeating enemies, exploring Skyrim, and you can choose different characters. And it actually calls them out here, like Khajiit, Nord, or High Elf. And then, of course, you have the Draugr-infested areas as well. Now, you got your dragons, your trolls. Sounds like everything I wanted for a Skyrim game. Now, it's divided into a couple campaigns, a couple chapters, it says. Uh, and a lot of decision points. It sounds like when you play this game, you'll make a decision point, and it will cause the game to branch or flex in different areas. Don't know exactly what that means, but I love hearing that. I'm excited to see what that is in the end. Also, the ability to do one-off, awesome, love it, and to save your game very easily. So this game, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, very excited for this one. Love, like I said, love the video game, and so I'm excited to see what's come out for this board game. I don't have a date on when this is coming out, but like I said, it'll be news weekly. So if I come across a date on when this is going to hit the table, I will definitely let you know. Okay, that's the first one I want to chat about. Let's keep going. Let's move on. The next one I want to talk about is more information for Earthborne Rangers. So this is honestly sounding like I'll use the term living card game without being living card game officially, because living card game is specific to Fantasy Flight games. So Andrew Navarro is the one kind of heading this, and the Sadler brothers are helping design it. But this is a customizable card game. So we talked about this last time. Thanks, Kevin. Yes, we can totally play Skyrim whenever it's ready. I totally will play that with you. So yeah, for this game here, we have a little more information on what it's about. So I am very excited for this one. So the main thing about this is it's fully cooperative, of course, because of course we're talking about cooperative here. But we are choosing from a established personas. And so what you're going to be doing is to customize your deck, you're going to create your character from scratch, kind of like a role-playing game. So you might choose like a ranger class. So it means you have to choose some specialized training, some equipment, some things that help with their personality. And you'll mix this all together to make your deck. And this will be your character you play as you bring it to the wilderness and you explore the world and figure out what it's about. Not a whole lot more information other than that, other than talking about like building your character and adding these. It almost sounds like groups of decks to define your character, and I love when I'm hearing about that. So that is Earthborne Rangers. Like I said, we'll share more as it comes up. Okay. Keep chugging through more news. So this is getting back a little ways, because I kind of wanted to cover this last week or previous week, and we had so much to cover just to get around to it. But I want to talk about this little game. Speaking of living card games, Arkham Horror. If you're familiar with our channel, you know that we love this game. This one and Lord of the Rings card game and Marvel Champions. All of them are excellent games. Now, Arkham, I want to put a spotlight to it because, one, we have new content, this Edge of the Earth coming out. But more importantly, the the delivery of this product is changing. And so historically, what it's been is it started with the Lord of the Rings living card game in that you bought it was a core set, and then you buy 6 other like smaller expansions, and those would all combine to form the campaign. And each box would have part of the campaign and part of the player cards, and you would need kind of the whole thing to all the content to get everything. The nice thing about this is you would get that content regularly, like normally every month or month and a half or two, something around that range, you would get new content. The bad news is, especially for Arkham, is because it's so campaign driven, you start with the start of the story, and you kind of have to wait until you get all the content to get the conclusion. So that is a little bit difficult, and also just finding the content, finding all the SKUs, having people keep this in stock and everything. Ultimately, they went with a new solution of delivering this product that you can get all the heroes in one box, basically, or heroes, all the investigators, sorry, and then all the campaign in another box. So that's pretty cool. Good news is you don't have to wait until the content comes out to play the whole campaign to the conclusion of it. Bad news is you don't have that drip anymore, right? That slow drip of new content, which generally living games have a lot of that in it to keep the game, alive, really, right? Because as you get new content, people start talking about more like, oh, what about this character or that character, and maybe you can use this other situation, and what do you do about this scenario? And that just drives that community. Now, that's the bad thing about this, but honestly, there are other games that are very close to being living, in my opinion, that doesn't have a small of a drip. One of all I mentioned that has just content coming out constantly is Marvel Legendary. My favorite deck builder out there. And that one, there's only 3 or 4 expansions a year, but there's just so much content that you don't have to worry about that drip not being there. And I think Arkham's there now. We don't have to worry about it as much. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. I know other people are a little torn on it, but just want to mention that Arkham Horror, this new content, and the delivery system's changing. Okay, speaking of more living card game news, because that's an awesome game system. Love that stuff. Nebula was officially announced for Marvel Champions. If you're familiar with the channel, you should not be. You should definitely know what Marvel Champions is. It's another cooperative game based on Marvel Universe. Peter is doing an excellent job covering that game. I too also really enjoyed the game. I am not doing coverage for it because honestly, Peter does an excellent job covering the game, and we don't need more of that. So we've got plenty of it. But Nebula sounds really cool in this one. She is going to be playing these technique cards. These technique upgrades, and when you play them, you will be able to activate their abilities, but for some really nice effects. But then you will have to get rid of them, discard them after you activate the abilities. And the interesting thing about her is, in her alter ego form, you can play a bunch of these without that negative effect of discarding them. But when you flip to hero form, you'll trigger all those effects, and they all get discarded. So it sounds like she's gonna be one of these build up, and boom, major turn characters. I'm not exactly sure how that fits thematically with her. I mean, maybe her cybernetics, she's allowed to adapt to situations with these various techniques, so maybe that's how it's working thematically. But regardless, mechanically, this sounds like a very fun character. I'm excited to see how she works. Okay, that is kind of the news that I wanted to cover from, hey, this is just new information about games. Now I want to take a look at the games coming to crowdfunding this week. There are 2 I want to point out that are cooperative. First one I'll talk about is Valor and Villainy. So this game used to be, I think it was a 1 versus many game originally, and the new content coming out is it adds co-op to it. And so this is kind of a fun open world, kind of make your own dungeon crawl experience. And I love that type of stuff. I mean, we just played Alta Quest recently on the channel. That concept just definitely strikes a chord with me. Big fan of that type of stuff. I've not played this game or the previous one, of course. So I'm excited to see what it's about. But it sounds like you're going to open up different boxes or packages, and it's going to change how the game plays a little bit. I don't think it's necessarily Legacy, as far as I can understand. Or Legacy, yeah, it's a Legacy style campaign is what it is. So I'm not sure if it's like permanent stuff, or I think it's just stuff you open, and then you add the stuff to the game. I'm excited to learn more about this. It is coming to Kickstarter on the 22nd, so take a look for that one. After this one launches, you know what, I'll probably next week talk about this one again, just to say, hey, it's out there, here's the information, here's what I think about it. But this one, I've got my eye on Valor and Villainy. The other Kickstarter coming is Power Rangers Rangers United. So this is an expansion for the Heroes of the Grid game, if you're familiar with that one. I haven't played it. I know others have, and they really like it. My son is right now really into Power Rangers, so I'm going to take a look at this one for sure. But there's not a whole lot of information on it. There are some cards leaked here. So looks pretty interesting to see what's coming out. But that is also coming out Tuesday, so I don't have a whole lot of information on it. But that is Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid expansion. Cool. That is all the news I'll cover right this week. If you guys have questions on anything you want to see and you want to talk about, of course I'm doing this live. I'm watching chat here. I know Kevin says he also thinks Earthborne looks interesting, and I totally agree. I want to know more about that one. That one could potentially like really sing with me. So, but yes, if there's any games I miss, anything coming up you want me to let me cover, or want to cover in this, let me know. Okay, that is news. We've got two more things to talk about. The first one is more of a generic discussion topic. So I think we'll do that next. So, okay. So the topic I want to talk about is, what am I missing? I feel like this comes up regularly. I know I feel this a lot. Meaning that I'll play a game, and I know a lot of people really love the game, and I'll sit down and it just misses fire for me. So and that is, as Kevin's saying, yeah. It seems like they offer the previous content Power Rangers, which can be expensive. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, getting all the information, all that content, because there's a lot for it, would be a ton. But yes, what am I missing for a game? So this is one of those things that I know I play games that like people are really excited for, and I'm excited to try it, and I sit down and play it, and it just misses for me. And I think a really good example of that for me was Spirit Island. That was a super well received game. I sat down and played it, and it wasn't a good experience. I didn't like it. And to be fair, a big portion of that was the experience I had with the people I'm around. Because I played this at Gen Con. It was a learning game. The person teaching it was trying to teach two games at the same time. And we were kind of lost because the person teaching was focusing on the other group playing. And then we had some other people in our group who had a lot of analysis paralysis, so they were struggling to just make a decision. It was just like really, like, I don't know what to do here. And so that soured me on it, for sure. And then but I think the important thing is to keep in mind, like, you don't have to like every game for sure. I mean, just get that straight out there. And I think the main thing here is what triggers you, what tickles your funny bone, essentially, right, on what you enjoy, and trying to locate those elements and try to see, do those elements exist within this game or not. And that's what's helped me. And like for Spirit Island, there's some things that really interested me, but I had trouble trying to figure out what I actually liked. And so one thing, like I said, I started recording all my plays of my games. And so I looked at what games I played. And so what games I played and see which ones were ranked, or started logging a lot of plays for me. And so based on that, I started looking at, hey, here's the types of games I play a lot. What do these have in common? And that helped me try to figure out what I enjoyed about these games and narrow down where are my likes and dislikes. Why do I care about this? Why not care about this? And with that information, I was able to try to like help lay down, hey, you know what, this is a game I like, this is a game I won't like. So like, what am I missing? Honestly, there's just so many games out there. I wouldn't worry about this topic a whole lot, but I did want to cover it real quick because it did come up in our chat. And as long as you understand, as long as the teach happens, and like Kevin's exactly right here, the teach is everything. Make sure you understand the game first and foremost, right? There's plenty of resources out there, plenty of people to help with that. But once you make sure you feel comfortable to teach, looking at what elements are there that provide to the game, see if they align to your own likes and dislikes. Like I said, for me, seeing what I played a lot helped me determine what that was. But yeah, just want to have a quick chat about that. I do have another thing I want to mention, and that is we still have a giveaway coming out for this dice tray. So if you're interested in winning this dice tray for free, we are going to be shipping it to someone in Canada, US for free. If you're outside of Canada, US, we will probably work with you to help with shipping. But this is something my wife made. It is foam insulated down here, so it's very, very quiet when you roll dice into it. But we are giving that away. There's a link in the description below. So please, if you're interested in joining, just all you need to do is add, hey, what do you want to talk about on this channel? And that is also going to tie into my other comment is, this is probably the last time in the near future, at least, I'll be talking about this type of content. Everything you guys have been saying, giving me feedback on, you want to do like a game comparison. Like, hey, this game or that game, which game is better? Or what is your top dungeon crawls? Or hey, what are the cool variants to solo games that work cooperatively or something like that? So for the future, because you guys are providing this content, that is what we're going to change into for the focus of the discussion. But anyway, that's all I got for this week. Thank you for joining, if you joined live. And let me know in the comments below what you think about any of this content, if you want to see anything in particular. But yeah, that is it. And I guess I'll mention one other thing real quick. I know we missed a few streams earlier this week. I am running into some tech issues. I'm trying to figure out what's going on and work through that. But I've got some solutions in place, so you should see stuff coming up again for me in the near future. But regardless, Peter's doing an excellent job covering content, so we're going to keep it coming. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you at the next stop.